Okay, so before I even get into it, I just want to make it very clear. If anything in this video sounds like I'm telling you what to do, I am not. I am just simply thinking out loud. I am not telling you what to do. My results are not typical. So traders, a lot of people lose money in the market. Not everybody's successful. It's really, really difficult to make money in the market. If you're going to try to make money in the market, definitely want to do it in the simulator for a very long time, like 6 months to a year, before you can even think about putting real money at risk in the market. This is not an easy game to play, and most traders will not be successful. So I just want to make it very clear, my results are not typical. Please do not place a trade or make a decision based on what you hear me say in this video. And anything that sounds like I'm telling you what to do, I am not. I'm simply here to tell you what I'm doing, and hopefully you can learn something from that you can then apply, study, and mold into what works for you. But only place a trade based on your own research and what you feel is right for you. All right, so let's get into the video. All right, so here we are on May 29th with another market outlook based on the algo. So the first chart that we're looking at right here is a swing trade that I've opened to my membership. So that's why you don't see the ticker on it. I'll show you this ticker as we get to the conclusion, but for members, they know what this is. So last week I showed you we had, and I gave you all the details behind this trade on the previous video. But right here I showed you that we had come down, we filled this gap. I added to my position right here at the gap fill. Told you that I probably should wait until we get to the resistance area or the support area right here, but did it anyway right there. So sure enough, I said one of two things are going to happen. Now that we filled the gap, we're going to see a bounce and a rally, or we're going to go sideways to down and into this support area. And then I said, based on what the algo is showing me, we should be coming down to the support area, going sideways a tad, and then rallying back. And sure enough, that's exactly what's happening right now. The algo is starting to show a positive trend. So shortly here, I do anticipate this triggering back to the long side and potentially triggering a new trade. But we're already in it, so it doesn't matter. We're just going to go for the ride. Did add to that position, lowered the average a little bit, and now waiting for a hit to target up here around the 118 range. So yeah, as this triggers a new trade, we'll see if we get a new target, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to make a little extra money. So anyway, that's where we're at with the swing trade. Still looks awesome. And it's the only swing trade we have open right now in this crazy market. Trying to be very conservative. All right, so let's go look at the market and see where we're at. Okay, so here we are with the ES, which is basically like the S&P 500, but the futures market version of it. So it's got a lot more data in there. It's not all choppy like you would get with the S&P 500 or SPY. That is just trading during normal market hours. This is showing you what's happening overnight as well in the ES. So we were right here last week. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in right now. So we were right here last week when I did the video, and I said right now if I was in the S&P 500, I would not be selling my position. If I was in long, I would not be selling my position. I'd be holding on because the algorithm is showing me right here as we're started to trend flat that this is looking for a bounce. So I would not be selling. And I did tell you that I was going to get in those short at 6 p.m. And I showed you in the last video how I got into that trade for a small short play based on the 30-minute candle with the algo, and that it was showing me at least a move down to around this area right in here. So I did jump in, I hit that target, got out of the trade, and then here we are off to the races, back to the long side. So right now the algo is indicating a potential long trade in the S&P 500 right here. Boom, there's the stop. So here's the stop, here's the entry, and here's the targets. But I didn't alert this to my membership, but I'm not taking it because I'm trying to be really conservative right now. The news is affecting this market big time. Lots of craziness happening. But right here, going all the way across, you could see, I'm going to draw a line. Okay, so between these two yellow lines right here, this is a big resistance zone, big rejection area right here. So one thing I said in last week's video is the bounce I'm expecting is to draw a W pattern, right? Is the market trying to draw something? And a W pattern is what I was expecting, and I told you that last week. And then what I also said is I expect it to break out of this W pattern and have a boost into this area. And most likely what we'll do is collect a bunch of long traders, maybe shake out some shorts, and then they start to sell off. So right now the algo is indicating a long trade with this. The problem with this trade is the target is way up here. It would have to get through this major resistance zone, and then it has another really big resistance zone that it would have to get through in order to reach this target. So, and with the way things are going in the markets right now, I could just trust the algo on it, but I also have to trust my experience. And, the algo gives me a really high success rate. I get 80 to 90% success on different tickers. And so it's fantastic, but does have losers. And if I can avoid some of those losers and have an even better success, and I want to avoid those losers. And this is, I believe, what will be a losing trade if I had taken this. We'll find out as we do these videos week over week. Maybe I should have listened to the algo, but it's been so successful that it has to have a loser, and this may be that loser. So I'm going to go ahead and wait, not take this trade, be conservative. Again, the news cycle can definitely drive this market heavily right now, so I did not take it, but potentially this thing could be looking for a move back to this area here, and we'd still be putting in a lower high and a lower low and still moving this market downward. So, as I told you in last week's video, I believe this market is still looking to make a move down into this area here, 3540 on the ES, around 354 on the S&P 500, and I believe this is just our little retrace before we start to continue lower. But all right, so that's basically S&P 500. Okay, so moving on to metals, and I didn't show you the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones and all that stuff because they're all basically the same thing right now. So no need to waste time on those charts. So over here with silver. So one thing I told you in the last video in silver is that right in here, I'm not going to dump my position. If I owned silver and I saw this little breakdown happening, I would not be getting out of silver. If anything, I would be adding to my position, or I'd be getting into silver right here as an opportunity to get in. I was right in this zone here, and silver came, and I said this area right here is a support zone. It's a big support zone, but it's a support zone. So looking for a rally out of this support zone. And sure enough, that's what we're getting right here, is a rally out of it, to the point that the algo has actually triggered a trade. So the algo believes that silver has a high probability of at least coming back up to this area and hitting at least this target before continuing lower if it decides to go lower. I really don't know what silver is going to do right now, but I'm not a trader of it. I said I was waiting for silver to come all the way back down to this 1531 level before I get interested in silver. Okay, so we were on the daily candle, now we're on the weekly candle. So right all the way down here is, if it comes down to this area, somewhere between 1531 and 17, I'd be very interested in silver, especially if it gets to the 1531 area. 1765, I may start a starter position somewhere in that area, and then finish loading the boat around the 1531 area, and then just let it ride for year or two, whatever it is. But right here, I'm definitely not a buyer of it. But if I owned silver, I wouldn't be getting out either. So I know it sounds crazy with inflation and everything. Why would silver come all the way down to these levels? Why? Right now my algo is still showing that silver's in a downward move. But besides the algo saying that, silver's used in a lot of manufacturing, as I talked about last week. And right now with manufacturing on hold because a lot of components aren't available, manufacturing being down big time right now on a global scale, and about to be down a lot more because people just can't afford to buy stuff that they put silver into, whether it's jewelry or like electronics. I think silver is, we're going to have a surplus. And when you have a surplus of something, the price comes down. So until the manufacturing whole thing is solved, I believe that we do see more downward to silver. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Algo says down. I feel it's down based on fundamentals. We'll see how it actually plays out. And again, traders, don't place trades based on anything you hear or me say or see on any of my videos. It's purely speculation. The market is insane. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Most traders are going to lose their money. Do your own homework. Make decisions that are right for you based on what you've researched and what you've decided to do. I can only share with you what I'm thinking for myself and what I'm doing for myself. We all have to trade our individual personalities, lifestyle, and goals. Trade you, don't trade me. So just want a quick reminder there. All right, let's go look at gold. Okay, what I said in last week's video in gold when we were right in here on this this candle right here is that we're on the weekly chart right now, that my algo is showing downward movement to gold. It's not showing me that I want to be in gold long to the long side. It doesn't mean that it can't go up, because we're right here on a really nice support line, right? Or trend line. See this trend line? Really nice. So, and we had this nice wedge forming, broke out of the wedge, right? Came back down. Now we're hit this juncture again, which could be a support area. And now gold has to make a decision. Is it going to follow this trend line? Is it going to decide to start a new trend line from here? Or are we going to retrace and then follow this trend line to the downside? On the weekly chart right now, doesn't look good for gold. Algo is saying to the downside. Let's look at the daily. Okay, so here we are on the daily. So on the daily chart, right now we have a short term. The algo is indicating potential short term move for gold to the upside. But long term, based on the long term algo, gold still doesn't look great. So this is kind of interesting right here. Right now the algo is showing the short term move. Entry would be right around this area here. So right now is a discount. And then the target would be somewhere right in this area. And I say interesting because right here we saw some major support, and it gapped to get below that support. So, and then fade right from there because there wasn't really anything left. There should have been some support in this area right here. Kind of was, and then continue lower. But it gapped to get down below that. And the algo is showing a potential move higher to retest what was once support is now resistance, possibly even a gap fill before gold makes a choice to continue higher or to go lower. So there's a potential trade in gold right now to the long side here. Which, the nice thing about it is if I jumped into this trade to the long side here and I wasn't successful and it came down, I can pretty much just hold it. And if I have to hold it for 2 years, 3 years, I don't think gold is going out of business, if you will. So, I just end up holding it forever instead of taking a loss potentially. But I'm not going to get into gold yet, even though the algo is saying to get in. There's a lot of craziness going on. I'm not confident in the metals either right now. But if I was going to be buying metals, I would not be buying silver. I would be buying gold. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Maybe on markets are closed on Monday, but maybe on Tuesday decide to take a stab at gold, get a small position, maybe make a little money in gold this week. Probably look at to do something like that, a small position. And again, I'll just hold it if it doesn't work out. I won't even put a stop in. I'll just be buying gold long if I buy it, small spot. Let it roll. Something that's not really going to put a dent in my account if gold sells off. So where would gold sell off to? We go back a couple of years and, maybe it does come back to the 160 area. So it moves back 10 points. If I have 100 shares, who cares, $1,000. And I'm not even going to lose it because I'm just not going to sell, but my account would be down $1,000. But at the same time, maybe I make $200 or $300 in the next month. So yeah, I think next week I might go ahead and start a starter position in gold based on this. Looking for a run back up to retest what was once support is now probably going to be resistance. Pop out of gold and wait for another trade setup. So that's what gold looks like. Let's go look at oils. Oil. Can you just say wow to oil? So this is WTI. Man, insane. When Joe Biden got elected, I said, I'm going to buy oil. I'm going to buy a lot of oil. And that was back down in this area here in the $2 to $3 range. And I held the oil and I said, I'm just going to hold it and pretty much never sell it. But that's not what I did. It spiked up into the 4 and change range and I got out. Made good money, basically almost doubled my money, which was great. But here we are at the $6 marker now. I wish I was still in it. So I'm too late now. So I'm not a buyer of WTI. Algo indicated a trade right here, as it has indicated several trades. I'll mark those up real quick. So here's one trade the algo had indicated, potential target up here. But right now we're pretty much getting to a new high. So if I was in WTI, I'd be really nervous right now. I'd probably be taking my trade off the table or trailing a tight stop and then looking to get back into a trade on WTI if I was a trader of it once it broke a new high and then looked to come back and retest and then move higher to get back in the retest phase. So, but right now I'm not a trader of it, but the algo definitely has indicated some nice movements to the upside. So WTI, man, it's on a rip. It's on a rip. So again, a lot of this is contingent on what happens with the war and all the oil exports and all that stuff. So this could change in a day. This could crash tomorrow, or it could boost like double again. So a lot of it's contingent on what's going on with this geo stuff. All right, let's go look at another one. So here we are with USO. So this was another one that I had bought as well after the election, and made some nice money on it. You know, way back here was down in the $43 range. Insane, right? But around election time, it was already back up to around $57 in that area, and then it sold off a little bit. But I bought in after the inauguration, so that was, where was that? Right here, around the 6th. So I was able to get around the $55 range, ride it up, get some, make some nice money on it. I think I got around the $65, $70 range. And again, man, I wish I would have stayed in, because look at this boost, right? So here we are. Algo is also indicating an upward trend. Let's look at this in the weekly. Okay, so there we go. So, way back here, Algo is saying this thing's looking higher. Still looks good. I mean, it still looks like it's going higher. And will it come up to this 106 area? There's a high probability of that taking place. We filled this gap, and it kept on going. It didn't really make a big difference. And with again, what's going on with the war, there's a good chance we could see that that $106, which happened quite a while ago. But right now, the short-term target for it is 87.84. Got to get over that high. Let's go back to the weekly. 87.84 was somewhere in this candle here, but we can go back a few years and look at the $106 that it used to be pretty far back in time. So it could definitely get back there again. If it's been there before, it can do it again, right? So we'll see where this goes. I'm not a buyer of USO right now, again, because I believe a lot of this upside is contingent on the war, and anything can happen there, and it's just too risky for me to get in right now. If there was a better setup, then besides approaching this high, like if we approached the high, got rejected, and then we found a nice pivot, then I may be looking to get into USO, looking for another retest of the high and make a W pattern and then possible breakout. But right now I'm not interested. And we can see I had a W right here, failed, never broke out, and then we're just in this mad consolidation, and it's kind of on a breakout of the consolidation right now. So if this can come back up here, retest, show me support where once was resistance is now becoming support, then I might be interested in taking a position in USO for a small profit, a small hit on it. But yeah. Okay, last thing we're going to look at before we wrap up this video is wheat. So here we're looking at the wheat futures, and everybody's talking about this food supply thing and what's going on with that country over there across the waterway that's at war, and not being able to export and all this stuff. So we're looking at the daily candle right now. It hit a high of 1363 in the futures market. It's down quite a bit, down to 1134, and the algo is still showing a downward movement. So the algo is still showing the price coming down on wheat. So maybe there's not that much going on, but again, this is heavily influenced by the news. So this could easily turn around and rip higher based on what's going on overseas. But when you look at food production and food costs and all that stuff, we are starting to see a decline in wheat, which should indicate to me that we may be also seeing a decline in some of the increased costs in food. But let's put something on the chart real quick. Okay, so here we have a little bit of a trend line that we see developing here. Will this come down, hit that trend line, and then rip higher, or go sideways before it hits trend line and rips higher? It's too early to tell. The algo thinks it's going to go sideways to down, so it should be coming into this trend line. The question is, will it break that trend line and work its way lower, which would be great for for the world food supply, because this is also telling me that the futures buyers, if they don't think there's going to be supply in the future, then they know the price is going to go up, which means they're going to be wanting to buy now, and so they can lock in these prices. So when price goes up, they don't have to worry. But we don't see that kind of buying taking place. We don't see that kind of move in the price taking place. We did see it back here when the war was kicking off, but we're not seeing it right now, which tells me that the people who really are the players in this, who are actually purchasing and receiving massive amounts of wheat, are not too concerned, or did all their buying and there's just no buying taking place right now, and that's why we have the fade. Hard to say, but right now that part of the world doesn't seem to be too concerned about wheat. So all the stuff we're hearing on the news, wheat this, wheat that, not seeing that correlation here in the futures market with people who are actually making the purchases. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this, and we'll see what happens with wheat going forward. All right, everybody, so that's going to do it for this weekend outlook. So for the next week, what should we expect? Okay, so back to the SPY. Before I showed you the ES with all the extra information in, we're just going to look at the SPY right now, S&P 500 futures, or not futures, ETF rather. Basically, the Dow and the NASDAQ looks pretty almost the same as this. It's very similar. So next week, what do we expect? My algo is still telling me that the market's not done selling off. So, we just got a green candle out of this today. We could see maybe another small green candle in there, bringing it up into this this level right here. Let's go ahead and draw this. Maybe one more green candle, putting it somewhere in this zone here. One or two more, and then a continued sell-off. I don't know that we're going to get higher than that. Like I showed you before, my algo is indicating we have a potential on a daily candle for a move as high as this. I don't see it. I don't think that's going to take place. Right now on the weekly, we're still in the red zone. We're not curling up or anything like that. So there's no real indication for me to see this go much higher. So next week, I do think we're going to probably close the week green, but I don't think it's going to be a big green. And then after that, we'll look to sell off. But at the end of the following week, we'll do another market outlook. We'll see where we're at with the swing trade. We'll see what ends up happening here. My prediction is a green week for next week overall. And then we'll look to a continued sell-off soon after. So we'll see you next week, and we'll find out if we were right. All right, everybody. So plan your trade and trade your plan. And don't copy me. Don't trade based on anything I said on these videos. Go do your own homework. I'm just sharing with my thoughts, thinking out loud, not telling you what to do. I'm not giving you trading advice of any kind. Literally just telling you what my thoughts are. It's pure speculation. So don't place a trade on anything I just said. All right, everybody. Have a good night.